Thanks for listening to the Lakers Fast Break podcast, part of the Hoopheads Podcast Network. Check out all their awesome basketball shows today at hoopheadspod.com. We're back for another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Also, as well, Lakerholics.com, and of course, everyone at the Hoopheads Podcast Network at hoopheadspod.com. It is sincerely appreciated. All right, I love it when somebody else falls into one of Admiral Akbar's traps, which is what Sacramento did today, thinking it was going to be an easy game. They came into the game as far as on a pretty good streak. They've been playing much better as of late. And I was listening to the Sacramento feed, and I was hearing them talk and rave about how well De'Aaron Fox is playing, how he's one of the best point guards in the league, top 5, doing great, doing awesome. He's taken that next step, fourth quarter points, dominating. Yes, here. And I'm not going to disagree with any of that because he has played extremely well for the Sacramento Kings, but not today, which was a good thing because the Lakers made it very difficult for him to go ahead and generate any type of consistent offense. They did give a lot up to Harrison Barnes, but you know what? Not too many other players stepped up for the Sacramento Kings because the defense for the Lakers, like in every game, was there. And you know what? On the brighter side of that, they actually played some excellent offense. This is their best offensive game by far without LeBron and AD. And they truly, truly came together as a team. Want to go ahead and give a big shout out to Jay Jarnes-Aceta, gave us a heart right off the bat. Thank you so much for doing so. And the Lakers with a sensational game by all accounts, their best game without LeBron and AD in the lineup as they destroyed the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento, 115-94. And here today to talk about the game and the brilliant shooting performance, although as LakerTom and I both will say, you know, you got to take it as it is because every once in a while these are NBA players and they are going to get hot from three. But here today to talk about the game is the mastermind behind Lakerholics.com. It is LakerTom. And LakerTom, you got to be excited about the performance today for Kyle Kuzma. Really stepped it up today, 30 points, 50% plus from the three-point area. Really good. Didn't like all the missed layups. I think that's something that they have to go ahead and work on as far as the concentration is concerned. But you can't find too many faults when you lead and you win by 21 points on the road without LeBron and AD.
Yeah, it was a great game. I think that I'm going to just continue to jump on this team, complain about everything, ridicule them, talk about how they don't have a chance to win a championship this year. Because look what happened when I did that.
Yes. Reverse psychology, my friend.
It's reverse psychology. It's yes. Definitely happening. You know, as I've said many times, despite what criticism I may write in my articles and talk about on the podcasts, when the game comes, I'm a Laker fan, and I'm still going to root for every single player out there to do well, even the guy that I most want to trade or get cut. So it was great to see the Lakers hit 17 of 33 from three-point land, shooting almost 50% overall, destroying them on the rebounds. Still allowed a lot of points in the paint. We basically would have had a wash on the points in the paint. And, man, the first half turnovers, they're just mind-boggling. I mean, hey, Lee, but this is the kind of win that we have to get. These are the teams that we can beat even without LeBron and AD. And it's important that we get those wins because, it's still going to be a while before we see our two superstars back in the lineup. And every win we get keeps us out of the play-in tournament at this point in time. So great game by the Lakers. Couldn't be happier. It was great to see Kenny hit 4 threes in the first half. Then he reverted back to his normal self, started missing everything. But everybody contributed pretty well. Like Talon played a very steady, heady game. Markieff is starting to look like the Markieff Morris who was a big star for us in the playoffs. So, the role players stood up today. We basically saw next man up come out here and play a good game, and a runaway win was exactly what this team needed at this point in time. We've got a big matchup on Sunday against the Crosstown Clippers. I'd love to see that hot shooting continue on Sunday and see what we can do.
Jay Johnson says the Lakers are back in the win column. Absolutely they are. I want to go ahead and make sure everybody goes ahead and gets an update on where the Lakers stand right now, because do we expect over the long haul by the time LeBron and AD to get back be where we're at? Probably not. Albert Tocaro, great to see you. Thanks for the heart as well. We truly appreciate it. But I want to give everybody a heads up where we are in the standings right now. We are in 4th place at 31-18, just a half game above the Denver Nuggets and a half game behind the Los Angeles Clippers, and only a game in front of the Portland Trail Blazers. So I'm going to say it like this. And LRob is here too. And I'm hello from the Philippines. Como se ga? Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much, Salamat, for listening to us all the way from the Philippines. But I want to go ahead and make sure everybody knows that the Lakers are right now, again, 31-18, just in 4th place. They're mired right there. I mean, at this point in time, I'm hoping they can hang on, but I'm expecting the Lakers to go ahead and, do what they can. But with LeBron and AD, it's going to be tough. As long as they can stay in front of the Dallas Mavericks, that's what I think I'm rooting for right now. I think if that's the key right now, they're still right now as we speak 4 games in front of the Dallas Mavericks. If they can stay in front of them, I think things will be looking okay, because LakerTom is concerned about them and the Lakers falling into the playing game. If they can stay in front of the Dallas Mavericks, I think things will be a lot better for us. But here today to also talk about the game and where the Lakers stand right now is a good man indeed. You got to catch his comments whenever you can go ahead and do so at Lakerholics.com. It is LRob. And LRob, my friend, great to have you on here. Nice to see you. I don't see any of our other cohorts in crime here. That's a kind of a shame on them. I'm sure we'll go ahead and talk some friendly smack to them when we can. But LRob, great to see you here. Your thoughts on an outstanding victory for the Los Angeles Lakers today?
Great shooting. I mean, that shooting cures a lot of ills, and the Lakers were lighting it up today, seeing KCP, Kuz. I mean, even when Dennis pulled up after he hit a couple threes and came down early in the shot clock and let one fly from 3, you know things are going good, because he hardly ever does that. So, yeah, it was just, it was shooting, really. It was the turnovers, the sloppy play, that was still there. But when you shoot the ball like they did tonight, you can get away with that. So, good win. I think Sacramento probably came in, knowing how bad the Lakers had been playing, and figured that was they had already chalked a W down in there, on the ledger. And once the Lakers started letting it fly, they couldn't regroup. So, good. Always fun beating Sacramento. I still like beating them.
Yes, always fun to beat them. Sorry about that, Luke. We know you're struggling up there in Sacktown, but Jack Rogers wanted to comment and throw in there, the Kings are the last team in defensive efficiency, and it shows. It shows. They're not able to stop anyone, and when you're not able to go ahead and take care of the penetrations by THT, Kuzma was having a field day on them, and when it led to a whole bunch of open look three-pointers, and that's the thing. It was the three-pointers we were taking, LakerTom, were under control. They were step into, they weren't rushed. And that leads to me to believe that, again, like Jack Rogers pointed out, the defense on the Kings side, just like we saw when, I don't want to say Luke was when he was here with the Lakers, the defense for the team, at least for that team, was not that good.
There's another stat that I saw the other day that sort of belies what you said there, Gerald. because the Lakers basically, the threes that they've been missing have been open threes. So it's not necessarily that all of a sudden we played a team that gave us a lot of open threes. We've been bouncing open threes all season long. That's been our big problem. And what's even more frustrating is that we shoot the open threes worse when LeBron's not in the game. And, part of that is the timing of getting that perfect pass and right in your shooting pocket, so that you can just let it fly. Another is just the sense of confidence you get when you play on a team that's got LeBron James, because it's sort of like taking a three late in the shot clock when you got to take it, and the pressure is really off. And when you've got LeBron on your team, it's no different than going down to the gym on Saturday and you pick sides and you got next, and you happen to have the best player on the court standing right next to you when you go out there to play. Your shot is more confident, everything goes well, and you rain a lot of threes. And for a change, without LeBron and without AD, our guys went out there and rained threes tonight. And that, like Lee said, that was the difference in the game. And there's nothing else that'll make you a cockier or surer basketball team than seeing that ball go through the hoop over and over and over.
This is Raphael from NBA DraftJunkies.com, and you are listening to the Lakers Fast Break.
Hey, hoopheads, we all hate ankle sprains, and they happen way too often. Ankle injuries are the #1 sports-related injury. Arise is trying to change that. With the iFast, your athletes get preventative protection and full mobility. Athletes no longer need to wear bulky braces that limit performance and give mediocre protection. Anyone playing sports should be using these products. Keep your athletes in the game. Don't wait for them to get hurt to take action. Visit www.arise.com, spelled ARYSE, and use the code HOOPHEADS to get 20% off the future of performance. That's ARYSE.com with promo code HOOPHEADS to get 20% off.
One of the things I still like you were saying, LRob, the turnovers, and you, LakerTom, this has obviously been something you've pointed out on your previous broadcast, and that is, LRob, the turnovers are still a concern for me. I know Caruso, according to J. John, Kuz, THT, Caruso. I understand Caruso had some good moments, but still some frustrating moments for me. He's still passing the ball when he's got wide open layups. Nothing aggravates me more than that. I cannot tell you how much. Okay,
you like that? You like that, Keith? Fast break.
I smile for 99% of the game. The 1% is when they do stuff like that. It just irritates me beyond all description. But LRob, I want to ask you this, my friend. The turnovers are still kind of an issue, but you've got to be satisfied the way that they went ahead and passed the ball around. Layups, still got to go ahead and finish that concentration. THT, some missed bunnies that I thought he should have made. But again, overall, you got to be pleased with where the Lakers are at after a game like this.
Absolutely. With all the guys we're down, any win you take, you're satisfied with. Man, I mean, they played spirited. So the turnovers, you don't mind the THT. Usually his turnovers is being aggressive. So those I don't mind as much as, Kuzma throwing a cross-court pass that, kind of going through three people. Somehow they got it back, and I think we scored a 3 on that possession. Or Caruso throwing a bounce pass, 2-on-1 break. It's like the, stupid plays. But at any rate, hey, today we're not going to harp on that. We're going to look at the positive. So, yeah. I was very enthused. They crashed the boards. I think we out-rebounded them by a significant figure.
25 rebounds
on the board.
53 to 38, I think.
Yeah, energy, and, they play with a lot of passion. So that's good. And, I guess like Tom said, when your shots are going in, that fuels you to play a little harder and a little bit better. And so hopefully this is the beginning of a good shooting streak. We can use it coming up against the Clippers Sunday.
Yeah, the Clippers are probably shaking in their boots right now.
Well, we'll see. They had a poor performance, obviously, against Milwaukee. They've been very uneven as of late. So They were kind of riding high for a while, but then again, those uneven losses and wins, just you don't know where their heads are at half the time. It's kind of, I don't know what's going on with the Clippers, and I don't think anybody else does either because they're very hard to figure out. But I want to go ahead and give a big shout out to all the commenters right now that are on Facebook. Rebel Bond, he said, superb and amazing performance all around tonight for Kyle Kuzma. Something I'm going to ask you on in a second, Tom. But defense, dunk, rebounds, assists, and crucial threes, and the Lakers win. Wow, Kuzmania. I was shouting Kuz. We were also shouting about his blonde hair. Do you like my blonde hair, LeBron? And I'm sure LeBron is probably saying, no, I don't like the blonde hair. But it must work. He got 30 points. We'll get, you can stay blonde if you're going to play like that. But I will say this, Jay John has said the posterizing dunk that Caruso gave was the highlight of the game. Yes. Stop giving up those easy layups to pass them out. Please, man, please. And Felix, he said, good job, Lakers. Good job indeed. But salamat to everyone out there watching it and listening to us out there. I know got some special love out there for the Philippines and for everybody now who's right now in lockdown because of the coronavirus. But LakerTom, Kyle Kuzma had an outstanding performance. This is the way we want him to play. It's the consistency that I always worry about, but today you got the best of Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, it's a funny thing about Kuzma because in the first year, everybody looked at him and thought that he was maybe the better player than Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram. He definitely was the guy who exceeded expectations more than they did. And part of it is that he had that magic touch that basically, he could go up for 20 in any particular game. And I wrote recently in Lakerholics.com that one of the problems this team has is that they really are LeBron and AD and a bunch of non-starters, guys that would not be starting on any other basketball, or let's say at least half of them they'd have trouble on being starters on half of the NBA teams. And so when you look at it that way and you take out LeBron and AD, you're rolling out there with 5 guys that wouldn't be starters on a lot of NBA teams. And so what you really need in those situations are you need the guys who are stars but are sacrificing and taking a role that's lesser than what they're capable of so that they can come out and become stars when the pressure's on and when they're needed. And Kuzma's a guy who is one of the few players on this team who has that ability that he could take over a game and dominate it scoring wise. He could be, the Andre Iguodala or the Robert Horry of this particular team in the right situation. But he hasn't been doing that, and a good part of it was that he sort of focused himself on becoming a better, more well-rounded basketball player, doing the little things that would help the team. In other words, dedicating himself to the role. So it's encouraging to see that he still has a little bit of that charisma to be able to come out and perform above his level when it's needed by the team. I also appreciate the fact that he said he played like crap the last game. In the second half of the last game, he said, I've got to play better if the Lakers are going to win. And he came out tonight and played better. And after a dismal performance the other day in losing that game, it was great to see the entire Laker team come out with a little fire in their veins and the kind of energy that you really want to see. So, it's good. I'm going to just keep bashing the team, I think, at this point in time because it's working, and I ought to write tonight. I'm inspired to write about how the Clippers are going to wipe the floor with us tomorrow on Sunday. And we'll see if there's a different Easter Bunny than the ones that everybody expects happening.
We'll see, but it is, again, going to be an early game for those listening and watching out there, a 12:30 game on Sunday. Just want to give everybody a heads up on that. And also want to make sure everybody has a happy and safe Easter holiday. Want to make sure that you can spend it with you and yours, and hopefully everybody will have an excellent holiday indeed. Want to go ahead and mention Albert saying, hello, Sir LRob, and hello, Sir Tom. Hello, Sir Gerald Glassford. Thank you so much. Everybody wants to beat us. Yeah, I mean, when you're the champs, everyone's got to beat you. Everybody wants to beat you. You always get motivated. But again, it was tonight, I think there was a letdown on Sacramento's end. Their defense obviously cannot afford that because it's not very good in the first place, and the Lakers took advantage. But I know you saw, as I did, Wesley Matthews, LRob. He was coming into the game with a neck contusion and obviously just slid right into the post and may have aggravated that further. I'm checking Twitter, and I know people see my head turn. I've been checking Twitter for any updates other than what Mike Trudell gave earlier in the game. It just looks like he may have re-extended it, but I've heard no more going into tests or MRIs, but I'm going to keep checking on that. But
they did x-rays and they were negative. So
okay, so they did x-rays and negative. Okay, but I want to hear your thoughts on Wesley Matthews. If he's out as well for an extended period of time, what that does to affect the team.
Yeah, boy, Wesley's a tough defender, so you hate to see, you hate to lose him, especially, when you think about a game like the Clippers, we could use him to eat up some minutes on Paul George and those guys. But, Wesley hasn't been playing that great. So I think we could, just be a few more minutes for THT and other guys. So unfortunately, I don't think he will be missed that much, but, we still want to have every man available. So I hope he gets well soon.
Because he's been a very hot and cold player for the Lakers.
Yes. Yeah. More cold than hot, but yes. Yes.
This is true, my friend.
Yeah, but
he's not afraid to shoot. Now, that's one thing I like about Wes.
Since
he's not afraid to defend, and he's not afraid to shoot.
Over there, I wanted to send a shout out to them. And when I think of basketball in the Philippines, I always think of the legend of Billy Ray Bates. So for you young Philippine fans, you probably need to ask somebody or research it. But yes, I always remember the legend of Billy Ray Bates over there.
Well, I'll tell you what, again, we've got much love from the Philippines, and the love goes right back at you from the Lakers Fast Break. Once again, the Lakers did win, and did win big, 115-94. This is, LakerTom, without a doubt, the biggest and best victory so far in the non-LeBron AD time period. What can they do to sustain this momentum for Sunday and going forward? Even if it's not a win, against the Clippers, just having that effort, just having that continual performance. If they lose a close game, I would think that's almost as good as a win right there. Because again, if you're playing your heart out and you're playing on that defensive end like the way they have been, you never know what may happen.
I don't know. I think that people forget about those close wins and all of that kind of stuff. I think what it comes down to it is they need to come out with the energy that they had tonight, and they need to come out and shoot with confidence. That's really the whole name of the game. It's all about confidence and not being intimidated and not being able to be bullied and just coming out. You're an NBA team. Any NBA team can beat any NBA team on a given night. The other side of it is, I think that, is this a home game for us, or though this is a road game? So we're going to go into the Clippers
Yes.
version of Staples.
Yes.
It's always nice to beat the Clippers. It's nicer when we do it on their court even. So I'm looking forward to an opportunity to do it. I think that the Lakers should do it. I think they should be favored in this particular game. I don't think the Clippers have a chance at this point in time. I'm going to put all of the pressure on the Lakers. They've got to go out there and just wipe the floor clean.
Say favored, by the way?
Yeah, we should be favored. We're on a win streak. And
one.
And the Clippers, the Lakers will win the game on Sunday. It's a guarantee. Just like Chuck would guarantee it, I'm going to guarantee it right this moment. Let's put the pressure on the guys. And
for you to follow in the footsteps of Charles Barkley and his prognostications, right. I don't know if that's best for your long.
Well, listen, they have the best player in the world in Kawhi Leonard, the second best player in the world in Paul George. They just made a great trade. They got all of these new talent here. Is Rondo going to play tomorrow? Boogie going to play tomorrow? The Lakers don't have a chance, it's a perfect Admiral Akbar situation.
Yeah, he's giving that mindset, everyone. He's doing that reverse psychology. Don't listen to LakerTom right there for you. But, LRob, I want to go ahead and ask you this because LakerTom is, again, using that reverse psychology on there for you. What are you looking to see on Sunday against the Clippers? What can they do to match up? I'm not expecting much from guys like Rondo or Boogie, like what LakerTom is saying. I don't see them seeing much action. But they will have, most likely, a healthy Kawhi and a healthy Paul George. What can the Lakers do to continually match up well so that they find themselves in the fourth quarter in the game?
Yeah, I think this is a game that Dennis could do some damage. You know, Kawhi and Paul George and those guys are tough defenders, and Zubac is going to be a tough one for Gasol. So maybe Dennis can get going, and he's actually probably a surprising stat that maybe a lot of people don't know. He's shooting 40% from 3-point range on the road. So when you look at his home and road splits and shooting, he's about at 28% at home from 3-point land, and tomorrow's a road game. So, hey, and today was a road game. He 3 out of 4. So maybe Dennis
that'll be kind of. Now, find the irony in that, LRob, if he shoots well on Sunday at the Staples Center.
We'll have to cover up the banners every time that we play at Staples from now on.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we can rent the Clippers floor,
Yeah.
I'm looking for Dennis and THT. Seems like, he had that bust-out game in the preseason against the Clippers.
Yeah.
So he's played well against the Clippers. I'm looking for, those guys. And Kuz has got to carry it. He's kind of focused his game to do a little bit everything this year to kind of fitting in better. But hopefully with today's game, he realizes that he really just we need him to score 20+ points.
He needs to be buckets.
Yeah, he needs to get buckets. He needs to forget about, some of the other stuff and go back to the old Kuz and start hunting shots and hunting buckets. So,
the only thing I say with Kuz, he was under control. If he stays under control, keeps his feet set, goes into his threes, and with his motion where he steps into it instead of to the side or drifting to the left or things like that, that's when you see Kuzma have the problems, and he's just going to chuck up shots. Again, like today, everything was on balance, on point. When he did his spins, everything seemed under control, which is a key to his game, LRob.
I agree. And he was attacking, too. Don't just settle for the threes. Just because you're behind the line, you could, give him a pump fake. Don't try to sidestep and, you're not Tatum and shoot threes. Go to the basket and create contact. He was doing a good job of that today, so. He needs to definitely keep that same mindset moving forward, not just against the Clippers, but every game moving forward.
And one last thing before we go ahead and talk about what you guys are working on at LakerHolics.com, and that is LTom. I wanted to ask you this real quick, and that is, again, what we talked about earlier with the Lakers and the standings. I mean, there's still – people have got to go ahead and be patient, give it time, because AD and LeBron are not coming back right away. They're still – several days off, weeks off, still at this point, unfortunately for Lakers fans. So we have to look realistically at the Lakers being maybe 5-5 or 7-3 in the next 10, possibly 6-4, something like that. That's what I think would be the best case scenario for us. And if that's the case, that might not keep them in the fourth place position, because Denver and also Portland have been playing well, and they're right on the heels of the Lakers at this point in time. But to me, LakerTom, again, I want to focus in on the Dallas Mavericks, who won tonight at New York. They're the team I'm worried about the most because of the fact that they are 4 games behind the Lakers. But as long as the Lakers stay in front of them, when LeBron and AD get healthy, it just makes it so much easier for them to recoup their losses and get back in, for at least a decent seed in the playoff chase.
Well, it's kind of a tricky situation because we've got 23 games left. What's the over-under for the games that would have LeBron and AD back?
Yeah.
It's starting to look like, to me, last season, where after suspending the season, we came back and we had this little 8-game stretch to try to warm up for the playoffs. We're probably going to have an 8 or 9 game stretch with LeBron and AD warming up for the playoffs. Right now, I never look at the winning column. I always look at the loss column when I look at the standings. And right now there are 4 teams that are tied with us, and we're either in 4th place or 7th place. It's 4th place or 6th place. The 3, 4, 5, and 6 teams all have 18 losses.
Yes.
So we could be as high as 3rd or as low as 6th. We're 3 games ahead in the loss column from the Mavericks. So I'm not too worried about it. If the biggest worry I had was that the team would fall apart and would not be able to come out and win the winnable games. There is a chance that we could beat the Clippers. To do that, we're going to have to do two things. We're going to have to hit our threes and take care of the ball. It's that simple. If we can do those two things, we'll have a chance in that game, because even in the games that we've played since we don't have LeBron and AD, or let's say without LeBron, we still had the number 4 defense in the league. We had the 29th, which is the second worst offense in the league, but we were still number 4, which is pretty respectable when you consider the problems that we have in rim protection at this point in time. So it's not an out of the question that the Lakers can beat the Clippers. The Clippers obviously are going to be heavily favored, but there's always the Admiral Akbar factor to put in there. And there's a simple fact that, like Lee said, maybe Dennis is going to have a great game. He needs to do more than 5 turnovers, and Gasol's 5 turnovers were just really of the boneheaded types of just passes that you make at angles that are just going to be intercepted.
Caruso had a couple like that as well.
Oh, Alex is shooting like 25% from the field. I mean, he made 2 threes today, and he shot in the playoffs last year. I mean, I saw somebody come back after it was pointed out that he's been shooting since February 1st under 30% from the field, not from 3, from the field. And the retort from the bench goat people basically was as well. In the playoffs last year, he shot under 25% from the field. Said, well, great. I mean, tell me then that the plus minus is because you're doing well and it's not because 4 other guys are carrying you. Alex has been a big disappointment at this point in time. I'm almost embarrassed when he has the commercials that he's got going for the razor company. But at any rate, he needs to play an awful lot better on defense and on offense, because on defense, he was getting eaten up all night long. But, we'll have a chance. We'll have a chance on Sunday, and we'll see what happens. After I write a couple of bashing articles this weekend, we'll have a chance.
We're signaling the ref for a quick timeout, but we'll be back with more of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Check out what's been going on with the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse.
That is by far my favorite, because it's also character-driven and the stakes are high and there's much more of a mystery and intrigue to it.
A game like Wolfenstein, which people are saying are one of the most socially important video games of the past 10 years.
Catch our shows on radio worldwide 7 days a week, or at any time on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on over 30 more podcast outlets. It is going to be Sunday afternoon here in the U.S. against the Clippers, Easter Sunday. Albert says Montrez versus the Clippers. I say it's motivation for Trez. I know Jay John Cerceta say it may happen. Clippers going to choke tomorrow. The Beast Herald will take care of it. Let's go Lakers. He is the eternal optimist. I want to give all the respect in the world to Jay John and also Albert out there, and to everybody who's commented and watching us. Also want to give a thank you to Jack, Manuel for the thumbs up, and Felix, Albert, and Jay John for the hearts. But LRob, I want to ask you this, and this is kind of a trick question, because you already know the answer when I ask you this, and that is, who is the more powerful duo right now as far as out of the lineup? Because the fact that which team is being more affected? The Lakers with LeBron and AD out of the lineup, and obviously you see how well they played today, or Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, who were out of the lineup for the Golden State Warriors and lost by 53 to Toronto.
Yeah, when I looked at the score at one point, they were down like
by 61.
Yeah, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I had to do I had to check because Draymond's on my fantasy team and I need his assist. So I was like, come on, Draymond.
That's okay. It just helps me. It helps my team more.
But yeah, Golden State's a proud franchise, and they're trying to, they need to make the playoffs. They got to get those guys in there. Obviously, the answer is, the Lakers have better players if you take out those two guys than Golden State does. So I think the Lakers are a much better team without LeBron and AD than Golden State are without Draymond and Steph. So.
Well, let me ask you this, LRob, before I hit it back to LakerTom.
2 rosters full of guys that couldn't start on half the teams in the NBA.
Well, yeah, that's
the superstars.
Yeah, that's very apparent right there. Although, Wiseman, to me, still I think has got a bright future in this league.
Yes, I agree.
But I want to ask you this. When it comes down to the Lakers and LeBron and AD, what LakerTom is saying, he thinks that they will not come back until with 7 or 8 games left. I'm hoping that they will come back sooner than that, but I'm not even thinking myself that they'll be back until there's about 10 games left. I think 10 to me is kind of that number that I see as far as it's concerned, where one or both may materialize back into the lineup. What do you see as far as the healing process for them? Do you see them coming back sooner than that, or do you see them coming back actually right around what LakerTom has them with around 7, 8, 9 games left?
So looking at the schedule in May, we have a total of 2, 4, 6, 8. And there's 9 games in May. So I think they'll come back. I think AD will definitely play in April. I would love to see him. We want to stay ahead of Dallas, right? That's the team. We got back with Dallas like in April 22nd and 24th. I would love to see AD slide into maybe that last game, which will probably give him about 12 games back. So I think AD will come back a little bit before LeBron. But I think I'm agreeing with LT on LeBron. Probably going to be about 8 or 9 games. But I think AD will be back a little bit sooner.
Do you think that they'll still be in front of the Mavs by the time one or both of those guys get back in the lineup?
Man, we got a rough slate coming up. But yes, because if the Lakers can go, let's say that the next 10 games, even if the Lakers only win 3 or 4 of those, I mean, Dallas has got to go, they got to win about 8 to tie us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to play at that clip. So, yeah, I think the Lakers will still be maybe a game ahead of them, something like that.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking as well. LakerTom, do you disagree with that? Usually you will disagree on the higher side, so I want to hear.
Well, the difficult part is the type of injuries that these guys have got, because they're the kind of injuries that you can't really predict. The high ankle sprain and the calf injury that AD has, the high ankle sprain that LeBron has, those are the type of injuries where the guy, you don't know when they're ready until they're ready. It's not like you can, some guys will come back in 3 weeks. Some guys will come back in 12 weeks. I do think that there's a need for them to have a few games in the regular season before the playoffs. So, and we've got 9 games in May before May 22nd. So I think the target would be to try to get them both back together at that point in time. I think Lee's probably right that AD is closer because at least they've got him doing on-court activities, whereas LeBron's not doing any on-court activities. And, they've also got Drummond, who, is there's another big question. Will Andre be available to play on Sunday? It's a lot easier game playing against I think Ibaka and Zubac than it is playing against Lopez, as he obviously found out by getting his foot crushed. Lopez and Giannis, that's a tougher matchup. So it'd be good if Andre was available to play some.
I'm thinking he will be out. I have a feeling he will not be in. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I heard it was more like a 3-game out.
Well, every time the Lakers, and it's kind of a funny, there's kind of a funny dynamic going on when the Lakers play the Clippers, and part of it has been the sort of load management gig that the Clippers have been pulling off, and it's always that sort of thing. Like, it reminds me of these college coaches who will, when they're playing a conference game, will basically have some guys injured the first time they go around in the conference, so that they can come back the second time we're in the playoffs and surprise them, and not, it's like, I don't want to go against the best, if it's fine if I've got injuries, because, that'll just make them overconfident when we meet them in the playoffs. So, and the Clippers, I can't see the Clippers really falling into the Admiral Akbar thing, because they've got to be, they're angry about the Lakers. They think that they're a better team, and they think that they've been maligned, and they're liable to come out and want to just, kick the champ when they're down. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of reverse psychology that's going to go on in that particular game. And but I think that, the Lakers, the best scenario for the Lakers is for sure to hang on and get that 6th spot. You don't want to be 7th and 8th. and be playing a Major League Baseball type of situation where a couple of hot games by a couple of teams and a couple of bad games from your superstars. The worst situation that we could have happen would be LeBron and AD don't really get much time and before the playoffs start, and we fall into the play-in tournament, where all of a sudden let's say we finish number 8, we're playing against the number 7th team to get in, and let's say we lose a close game. Then you're playing against the winner of the 9th and 10th game to either go home or get into playoffs in the 8th spot. Ooh. And that becomes scary.
Well, yeah, it'll be 7 and 10 versus 8 and 9. And then if that's the case, I thought, correct?
No, it's 7 and 8. 7 and 8 play for 7th. And the loser plays the winner of 9 and 10 for 8th.
Wow, that's just crazy. Could be made so much simpler. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But again,
at least they don't start a man on second base in the 10th inning.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started with that. But then again, comes from the league that doesn't even allow for DHs in the National League.
Right.
Again, because they gave that up. All right. Well, again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows, and appreciate everyone out there checking us out on Facebook, at LakerTom on Twitter, at Lakers Fast Break on Twitter, and LRob is there as well. But before we end on out, LRob, I want to hit you up with this. Your thoughts on the week ahead for the Los Angeles Lakers?
Clippers going to be a tough one. Toronto on the road. That's going to be that's one we should be able to get if we bring it. They got some guys down. Miami's going to want revenge on us, so that one's going to be tough. Brooklyn, shudder to think about that one. I'm sure all their guys will be suited up, or at least Harden will be playing there. The Knicks can be beaten. Charlotte can be beaten. So, I mean, it's not just,
We could win 3 of the next 6, I think.
The next 5 games, we got some winnable games on the road.
3 of
but
6.
But everybody we playing is looking at us like we can beat them. So, that's the downside. These teams that normally are looking at us like looking at it at an AR, looking at us with some confidence now. So.
Well, you saw what happened today, though. It could be an overconfidence, because I know Sacktown was looking at us like that, and see what happened there. So hopefully that'll happen at least 2 or 3 more times in the next week. Love to see that overconfidence from those teams, if that can possibly be the case. But LakerTom, I really appreciate both you and LRob stopping by. And again, the hundreds of people that have watched the show today, I cannot thank you enough for all the love that you go ahead and provide us and the great comments and all that. Again, please, I hope everyone has a safe and happy Easter holiday. But before we get on out, what articles did you say you were working on for Lakerholics.com?
I always got a few in the chamber.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I'm working on an article today that is the 3 trades that the Lakers should have made before the trade deadline and why they should revisit them in the summer. So that'll be – trade articles always have the best ratings.
Yes, they do.
I mean, it's sad to say, but it's the reality. I mean, whether it's on Medium or whether it's at Lakerholics.com, those are always the big winners. I think that it's kind of interesting because the next 6 games will tell us a lot about the Lakers, because they play 6 games where 3 of them are very, very difficult games for us to beat. I mean, the Nets, the Clippers, those are some hard tasks to win. But the other games, and here's what I think is the difference. When we came out against the Bucks and you're starting 5 guys who really aren't starter quality NBA players, and they know they're going up against a superstar, those are games where it's hard to come out for those guys and play confidently. But when you're coming out against the Sacramento Kings, or let's say the Raptors on a bad thing, or the Hornets, or a team like that, those are the games where guys' shots, they're like taking 3-point shots at the buzzer, because the pressure's off. The pressure's off because you're not facing a real superstar. You're facing guys that you can beat, and therefore you play with a lot more confidence and you play a lot looser. And I think we saw that tonight. I think that was a big factor of why we played so well against the Kings, because we knew that they don't have anybody on that lineup that we really should fear. not the way that you'd fear Giannis or you'd fear Kawhi or you'd fear one of those superstars that can single-handedly just totally dominate a game. So we got three games against teams like that, and 3 games against really teams that should just kick the snot out of us. So let's see what happens over the next 6 games. It'll give us a good idea of whether or not we can hang on and not be a playoff team rather than a play-in team.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more on that. Guys, again, it's been great having you on the show today. Once again, check out our show and all the other great shows that are available right now on the Hoopheads Podcast Network. That's hoopheadspod.com. Always check out our show wherever you get your podcasts just by typing in the words Lakers Fast Break. Of course, check out all the great articles from Jamie Sweet with 5 Great Things, Sean Grice, our man behind Lakers history and all the NBA history that he knows so well. You can check out what he's doing and, of course, what LakerTom is doing and all the great comments that LRob provides at Lakerholics.com. And LakerTom's great article site as well, medium.com. But before we head on out, LRob, any last comments before we head on to a great Easter weekend, hopefully for everyone out there as well?
Looking forward to the next Lakers game. I'll give a little shout out to Kasar. We've been on him pretty tough, but he did have 6 assists tonight, 9 rebounds.
And 9 rebounds. 9 rebounds.
Yeah, so he contributed. If he can give us that type of effort, that will bode well for us. So looking forward to seeing the team, try to continue to bond together without AD and LeBron and see if they could, like LT said, even if they don't win these games, if they're very competitive when they're playing upper echelon teams, and then go ahead and take care of business on the teams they can beat. Should be fun. Happy Easter to everyone.
Happy Easter to you guys as well. LakerTom, any last thoughts on the way out? And again, happy Easter to both you, LRob, and to you, LakerTom.
Hats off to Lee for staying up late and all of the people watching our show that are loyal Laker fans that are in different time zones. Man, I know how tough that is. And so thank you very much. Looking forward to UCLA Bruins tomorrow, pulling off one of the biggest miracles of the year. Go Bruins.
And, of course, LRob and I with Michigan State for him and USC for me are on the outside looking in. And, yeah, though that Gonzaga freight train, they blew away USC in that first half. They might do the same for UCLA. I mean, once it starts going downhill. Man,
the 3 J's are going to have the games of the March Madness.
All right, we'll wait and see, my friend. I don't know. Gonzaga.
It'll take.
Yeah, Gonzaga looks pretty darn
12 is the number we're looking for. The 12th UCLA National Championship.
Yeah, 12 is the number that you guys might be down in the first half by in the first 5 minutes. But let's go.
We've been down by more than that and have come back.
Not to Gonzaga, that's for sure. Gonzaga's a freight train. Did you see how they play?
They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else, man.
Oh, well-coached team, well-coached players. They look incredible right now.
That's UCLA, well-coached team, well-coached players. They force players to shoot over them.
Okay,
you got to shoot over them. You're not going to get any easy layups, easy dunks, and so forth. You have to shoot over them.
We'll see. I don't know. Gonzaga looks pretty good, but again. It is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone being a part of today's program. Once again, the final score was the Lakers 115-94 on the road at Sacramento. Their best performance without LeBron and AD. We will be back Sunday afternoon. That's right. We're going to spend Easter with you because we love you and we wish everybody out there so much happiness this Easter. Again, we will be part of your Easter afternoon coming up after the game. Dropped another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. If you're interested in Godzilla versus Kong in that matchup, I saw it. I reviewed it, so I share that on the latest Pop Culture Cosmos wherever you get your podcast. But again, it is 115-94. The Lakers do win over the Sacramento Kings. And looking forward to seeing everyone out there and everyone that just gave us so many thank yous, thumbs ups, hearts, Jason, Jack, Manuel, Felix, Albert, J. John, you guys are incredible. Everyone out there, we truly appreciate you watching and listening. But we will see you on Easter Sunday right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.